Solo.
And hello. Well, probably shouldn't finish my breakfast right before I start streaming. Hello, welcome to Solo Playthroughs. I hope my breakfast sounded good to you. We are going to Primal. This has been long awaited. I think I pushed it off 3 times in the last week as other things have popped up and other things were on the table. And yeah, this game is good. Is good. It was long awaited. It was a early COVID um, campaign on Kickstarter, and just delivered a few months ago. I did paint mine. Some are painted really well. Some are just done. Veraxon was the first one I painted, and I could tolerate him. His colors are off, but you know, looks better than a hunk of plastic. So I do wish this campaign offered the what do they call that? Oh man, when they do that ink wash on the thing that comes with Kickstarter, the Awaken Realms does it a lot. The sun drop, but they did not offer a sun drop option, which is fine. I have mini painted before. I tried to do just a quicker, mostly dry brush based method. Some of the later monsters I spent more time, but you know, he looks pretty gnarly. You know, it is what it is. Wings are a little too white, but you know, we like it. It looks better than that. The plastic was especially not a great plastic. This game needed to be painted for a table presence uh consideration for sure. So look, there have been a lot of boss battlers that have come out in recent years. You have Oathsworn, you have KDM, you have Aeon Trespass Odyssey, you have Kingdom Death Monster, you have I don't know. God, there's been a few. What's the one with the weird, um, like the townsfolk tussle? I've played a few of them. I like ATL a lot. I do wish it was more player friendly. I played Oathsworn, and I'm probably gonna sell ATO because I'm just never gonna get back to it. I don't think. And my friends are getting at least one of the seasons for the seasons of Heracles or the Sins of Heracles. Um, Oathsworn, I'm also selling. I just did not. You know, it got to like chapter 10. I'm like, this is fine, and it just really overstayed its welcome on the table. I found the story too long. I found some of the rules too loosey goosey, and it just didn't. It wasn't hitting for me. The character progressions were underwhelming at best, and I just was like, "Why is this game so highly rated on BGG?" It just wasn't made. It was not made for me for sure. So, selling that as well. Did not finish the campaign. This I absolutely loved. I got into it. I've played a whole campaign. I'm playing another campaign with a friend. I've introduced several other friends to it who've all had very good feelings about it. It really hits for what it is. The trigger system can be a lot, and it can be a lot to manage, and it can be hard to learn from that standpoint. But again, what it wants to be is amazing in how they executed that. And you know, it's a big boss you have to fight. There's some interesting terrain elements they added, and I think what's so cool about it is that yeah, there's a lot of triggers, but you don't have to learn about line of sight. You don't have to worry about targeting. There's no minions. There's no monster movement other than just rotating. The card play is really cool. You know, it's just really well done. They made some strange decisions in the production, but you know, the gameplay I have very few complaints about. There are a couple of monsters that do feel a little bit grindy, but it's that's with anything, right? You know, it's just you know, and it's only 10 rounds even with that. So, you know, I just think they did a really good job with it. So, excited to feature it here today. Might have to look up some of the rules as we go, but we will get there. Kanezu says, "Hello, great game. I just finished first campaign like 2 weeks ago. Tomorrow starting second one with new people. Just wish there was a standee version." I don't, and I think, uh, as someone who bought the non-standee version, the non-mini version of Oathsworn, and then I played this, I do think one of my problems with Oathsworn was the stupid standees. I think the positionality, if that's a word, I don't know, the position of the monster, the table presence, I do think does add to the experience. Um, but if you don't want to go through the process of painting your minis, the fact that they didn't offer a sun drop option, in 2024, I do think is a little strange. Um, as much as I look at some of my pieces that I'm really like proud of, like not this one's fine, it's done. Um, you know, I it did not. By the time I got to the 18th, 19th, and 20th monster, I was definitely ready to be playing and not painting. So, but some people just love the painting. That's fine. But I do think they should have offered us a drop option. But that's just me. All right, let's get into it. So, one of the weird production decisions they made is they had all the expansions with the separate rulebook. I do think for the all-ins, and I know this would have been a production nightmare, it's just not having one rulebook instead of 7 is a little annoying. So that's a thing. And then you have the campaign book, which this should all be one book. I adding the campaigns, and now you have like whatever, and then all the books kind of look the same with this white. I wish they made the campaign books like a different color so you could instantly know whatever. So you just definitely try to keep all your books together, because otherwise you'll be like me, like, what books do I need? So, and I actually just wrote on the cover, like there should have been more information on the cover in the corners, just to make it a little bit easier when you're looking for something in a campaign. But look, this game is also very big. You play with 3 or 4 players, there's gonna be a lot. And but I do appreciate though is they made this board really small relative, and that will help with the table sizing. But they have a lot of things that need to be laid out in this game, which is good and bad if you have a smaller table than me. So the actual prologue, which we're going to play today, is in the main rule book. You always have to play this prologue, and then your campaign takes off from there. That was a choice that they made, and I kind of get it. It kind of just grounds the campaign. I'm not going to do all of the story time with Greg that I could today. It just there's a lot of narrative. I do like the narrative. I'm also very confused by the narrative. Um, I never really totally got it. It's interesting though, and it's not like super onerous as far as how much writing there is. I mean, it's not like Madara levels of writing. Um, so it's closer to like Frosthaven or an Arkham campaign, where they give you stuff, and I think there's just mysteries that on repeat plays hopefully will become clearer and clearer to me as I play through the game. So we're going to get into the rulebook, which gives us our prologue. But essentially, oh man, do I want to read all this? No. I mean, it's not that much. The art in here is pretty freaking cool too. Yeah, this game is like definitely made for like 12-year-old Greg, just with some of what they're doing here. But nah, that's really long. Essentially, what are we doing? Ah, forget. I'll just read it. Story time with Greg. As you're walking toward the heart of the ancient crimson forest, warm, damp air rises from the ground. From afar, the scarlet foliage, yes, I said that right, on the trees looks as if hundreds of little flames have been lit to heat the forest, like candles whose fiery tongues are no longer flickering but frozen in time. Silently, you push through the vegetation that meanders around the massive trunks of dark wood. You are a newly formed squad, hand-picked by the commander specially for this expedition. Darian has been silent and brooding throughout the journey. You see him staring distrustfully at the forest with a look as hard as the blade he carries over his shoulder. In the vanguard, Myra precedes the rest of the squad, striding gracefully and seemingly at ease, even in that unknown forest, as if nothing could escape her keen senses. Thorig and Lonyar, a little further behind, are bringing up the rear of the squad. The former, in his shiny armor, has measured, confident strides. He has the experience and composure of a leader. The latter walks in line with the rest of the group, his towering shield hooked over his shoulder. He has the look of someone willing to bear any weight for the sake of the squad and his companions. When you reach a crossroads in the undergrowth, you stop to consult the map. The missing seekers were exploring the valleys west of Voltjar. It is not the first time you have had to make your way through hostile territory like this. For as long as you have known the region, nature on Thyrea has always been indomitable and ferocious. Monstrous creatures lay claim to their territories, and ever since the people of Alboria first landed on the island, they have lived in acknowledgement of this natural hierarchy and taken refuge behind the walls of their fortified city. Only seeker and hunter squads like you can travel beyond the borders of Alboria. I'm assuming it's Alboria, in search of resources and answers to the island's secrets. You are now close to the point marked by the commander, while the path under your feet seems to be trying its best to disappear among the tree roots and thorny red bushes along the trail. Suddenly, the unexpected happens. A deep roar in the distance breaks the silence of the march. All around you, cries and calls from animals and beasts ring out from all parts of the forest. As soon as you can, you find a gap in the tree canopy. Myra, ahead of you all, stands transfixed as she stares in the sky. Pinnacles of ash rise from Vulture's caldera, forming a black cloud that expands across the sky. After having lain dormant for centuries, the great volcano of Thyrea has awakened. The earth shakes violently. There is no time for fear. That is what the commander would always say during training. You've run frantically, like predators mowing down roots and jumping over shrubs that hinder your passage. You find a small clearing from where you can observe the grim, terrifying spectacle. This event will change everything. You are sure of it, but you still cannot even begin to imagine just how much. You notice Lanyar pointing his finger to the sky, squinting his eyes in an effort to see in the distance. From the curtain of ash, the silhouette of a creature with outstretched wings that has never been seen before emerges. Like a fiery lava bomb hurled from the mountain, a large blood-red dragon can be seen flying at great speed over the expanse of scarlet foliage under which you have taken shelter. Its roar echoes through the valleys of Volchard as it is trying to unleash the wrath of the forest. Just when you have got your hopes up that it has not caught the scent of you, the creature veers toward the clearing and swoops down on top of you. You leap out of the way, evading its impact just in time. You roll on the ground to the sharp sound of metal clunking as the dry grass of the clearing gets caught on your armor. You look up, and the huge dragon is towering over you, angrily sniffing the air. You try to think quickly, scanning the nearby brushes and studying the battlefield. You shout over the beast's growl and frantically form a line to face it. Its hot veins pulsate and glow all around its muscular body. The fury of the volcano itself appears before you when the monster's huge jaws open violently to make way for the flash of flames ready to engulf you. But you, hunters, have no time for fear. Dun, dun, dun. All right, they will teach you stuff. Blah, blah, blah. All right, cool. We will get into the setup of this. Hold on 1 second. Kadazu Varaxin is a strange choice for a prologue boss. He may not be very complex, but the fire mechanic is often just not fun. It's interesting. I don't know. I haven't found any of the mechanics just not fun, right? One of the things, okay, well, a couple of things. Right now I'm starting a campaign. One of the things I appreciate about the box, and I haven't explored it much, but the game pretty much offers you 3 modes to play. So there's these expeditions, which are one-off scenarios, which every monster has 2 of them, which is super cool, including the expansion monsters. So you can play those. There's also a nightmare mode where there are a number of monsters that were given alternate decks that could be used in the nightmare mode, where you just basically play a sequential 3 a series of 3 battles in a row. That's supposed to be harder. I haven't explored that yet either. This is a 11 chapter campaign. Nope. 11, 12, 11, 12 prologue. Yeah, this is actually essentially a 12-part campaign, including the prologue, and that's also kind of tight, right? It's super interesting. I found all the monsters to be challenging in their own right, except for one, but I think I just had the perfect 2 warriors. I played through a campaign with Thoreg and Darien, and I just absolutely smushed one of the monsters. But they all do have behavior decks, and I think one of the things I like, well, one of the things I do like, not I think, I really do appreciate about this game is that there is a sense that you are trying to be like a hunter, learning the behavior of your prey and what you're trying to kill. So you have to like, you might have to fail a couple of times. You're like, all right, well, I know that if I do this, this monster is going to do that because I've seen it in action, right? And I think that's it's good, right? But it's never to the point of cheese. You can never be like, I know exactly what it's going to do all the time. That um, you can just absolutely cheese every scenario because again, there's only a certain number of these. You only have so much information at any given time, which makes sure that there's always going to be an element of surprise and challenge and having to adapt to what's going on. But yeah, we'll talk about the fire mechanic as we go. Let me get a fan on down here. That's better. All right, so we have Varaxin stuff is out. We're gonna need several things. We're gonna need these tokens here are struggle tokens, and I give myself little reminders friggin' everywhere, right? So I'm gonna put one up here to remind me of certain things, which you'll see, and then we'll have the rest will just be down off camera. And then actually I put one at the bottom of the monsters deck as well. And you'll see why in a second. We're gonna need these cards. So these are attrition cards. There should be 10 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we have those. That's good. Shuffle those. Now we're playing the prologue, so we're playing a level 0 monster. All the monsters scale. There are essentially 4 different levels of them, although the only one you'll ever really play at level 0 is Varaxin, unless you're doing, you're trying to scale it easier for whatever reasons. So we have Varaxins, level 0. We have these objective. We have an objective card and 3 peril cards. And then we're going to need 9 behavior cards. Now, the behavior cards, the way they scale, since we're at level 0, there's these little symbols up here, and I know the 3 symbols that we need to get the prologue started, right? And then as you say, I wanted to do a level 1 Varaxin, I would take out 3 of these cards, I would add 3 more. Level 2, I would take out 3 more of these cards, add 3 more. And level 3, I would take out 3 more of these cards and add 3 more. Now, the peril cards, too, they're double-sided. So if I was playing level 3 Varaxin, I would need to be on this side, but level 0, 1, and 2, we play on this side, and all that will make sense a little bit more as we go. So I'm going to put the peril cards here. I'm going to put the objective card here. Now I put them both out to start because they both have a 1. So that is going to correspond with Varaxin's stances. Every monster has 3 stances as you play them. So we start at stance 1. If we defeat stance 1, we'll go to stance 2, and as we defeat stance 2, we will go to stance 3. And kind of a bunch of things change at that point. Where you can attack him, what kind of objectives, what kind of peril cards he has in play, and certain parts of his behavior, the strength of his attack, etc., etc., etc. Right. So what we know now for stance 1 is that. Well, let me kind of not get too far ahead of myself. I developed a new system to store some of this stuff, so it might take me a second to find all that I need. Great. All right, so this is the health meter for Varaxin. So Varaxin has 2 health per hunter for each of his wounds, right? So 10 wounds, if we kill him, if we get to 10 wounds on him, we automatically win immediately. But essentially, we have to do 4 damage to him to take a wound down. When we get to 7 health, then he'll switch up into stance 2, and we'll reveal the next card here. So you can see 1, 2, and 3 as far as apparel cards, and we have 1, 2, and 3 stances, so I could just kind of display those a little bit there so you can see what's going on. All right, so 10 health. Every wound, every bit of health is the equivalent of 4 health. 4. Man, I need to get the language of this right. So if we do 4 damage to it, we do 1 wound. But again, how much damage you need to do for future wounds will probably go up as you get into future stances. We need this token over here. We're going to start in round 1. If you do not defeat the monster in 10 rounds, the game is over. I'm covering over the 10 on that for the sake of the camera. And then we have these tokens we'll need. We'll need the first player token. We'll need the aggro token. I'll give both of those to Thoreg. And then we'll need these will be available. All right. Cool. Trying to think what else is over here. We'll definitely need these. All right. So he has everything. The Varaxin has everything he needs, and now we have to get our hero set up, right? So each of our dudes is going to start with a base armor of 5. So you have a spot for a helm, a spot for an armor, a spot for 3 potions, a spot for an item. And the first scenario, we're just going to have a helm, an armor, and 1 potion. The rest of the stuff we'll get as the scenario goes. I do really like the crafting system in the campaign. I think it's interesting. I think it's well done. I think all the items are different. There are some authentic choices in how you're building out your character and different ways that you can play it. Now everything here associates to a level 1 because this is where we're starting the campaign. As you go, you will have access to level 2 equipment and level 3 equipment. I think that's all pretty well done. The only thing that's clunky about that is they gave you 700 forge cards, and they really didn't need to do that. I think that was kind of a silly step on their part. I would have rathered a little bit like a book that was like 4 pages. That I think could have been a handy chart, and it could have saved them a ton on printing costs. But what do I know? That is about that. So now Thorig, we're gonna get his little handy cheat sheet. The cheat sheets are really well done. You got some of the symbology you'll see in their base deck, and then on the back, all the keywords related to his cards are right on the back, so it's a super handy reference. It did take me a second to realize those keywords were there, and I'm like, oh, that's super helpful. Thank you. We're just gonna start with our base hammer. Now, our level 1 hammer has things that if we play a blue card, and we'll talk about the colors of cards in a second. If you are in the front sector, increase the struggle to maneuver removes by 1, and that doesn't make any sense to you, but it will as we go. Now, you'll see on the side here, you have red, blue, yellow, and green. All those have a number 6 in them. Oh! I'm throwing things around. And no, this isn't even Thoreg's. This is not Thoreg's. All right, we're going to put this over here. Hopefully that did not get out of order. So we're going to go and we're going to his 24 starter cards. There's going to be 6 red, 6 blue, 6 green, and 6 yellow. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red, 6 blue, 6 yellow. Now, as you go, we will be able to upgrade our cards. There are essentially 5 different paths of upgrades. So A through E, and they all have different things that go along with that. Now, I'm going to take the 1 wound here, and we're going to just put that on my board. If I did get knocked out, I would take a wound, which would be added to my deck. If I get knocked out a second time, you lose. And then this is my starter mastery, and we'll put that as so, and I will explain the masteries. Now, as you get access to more masteries over the course of a campaign, you still only can start every scenario with 1 mastery, and the masteries do play differently. So it's a lot of variety even within an individual character. All right, so I'm going to shuffle my deck here, and I'll just try to just stay off screen to the bottom. Jeremy, you need to turn the fan off and the fire tokens are placed. It's a good point. It's a good point. Thank you for looking out for my safety, sir. I don't know what it is, man. I swear. I'm going through the changes. I'm getting hot flashes. So Thoreg is more, he's just a kind of a bruiser. He does some stunning, which is a cool mechanic, which you'll see. So we'll look at this. Now you notice the helm and the armor have a health value. So it's 5 and 4. So we have 9 health. If we take more than 9 damage, we are knocked out. There's a whole way that we can be revived. It can happen naturally, or we can get an assist from other players that are involved in the game. But you're going to miss at least a turn, and it can be un problem. But if you are knocked out, your health essentially gets reduced. It goes from having 2 numbers that add up to your health to just having 1. Now you would still have any abilities on an item, you just cover up the health, so it no longer helps to keep you alive. So you have to be aware of that. And then again, if you get knocked out a second time at your reduced health, you are out of the game. Now, I've only played with Kara once. Now Kara came with the Nightmare expansion, I believe. No, she came with the, what freaking expansion was that? There's so many of them. She came with the Mount Havoc expansion. She's got some cool mechanics. I am playing with Linear in a campaign with a friend, and I played with Thoreg and Darian. And my friend's playing Miro, so his deck is all a mess. So this Kara is someone I wanted to explore more, so excited to do that. But yeah, she definitely has some of the expansion mechanics, and then we could decide as a group who I should play next. I am hoping to get this whole thing on camera over the next couple of months, but we'll see how that goes. That would be the predominant amount of my ability to stream, so we'll see if I want to do that, but I might. I like this game that much. So we're going to take these 9 cards, by the way. This is, again, the behavior deck for Viraxen. Shuffling these up. I have not played this in a minute, so I don't fully remember what a lot of these triggers do. So that is going to be an interesting challenge. Now, we'll put this up here. Again, I put it on top of a struggle token to remind me to add a struggle when we have to accelerate his deck, I think is the word they used. And this goes there. So you'll see on the back of these cards, you'll have different triggers. This card's going to trigger at the end of the round. This card's going to trigger when one of the characters plays a red card, which is an attack card. And this card's going to trigger when if a player starts their turn and is in the rear section of the monster. So front is here, flanks are here, and rear is here. There are 2 lines on the base. I painted the whole thing black, so they're going to be a little hard to see, but hopefully you'll be able to orient yourself pretty quick. Again, where the wings are kind of facing forward, that is the front. So Kara's deck, her starting mastery is Piercing Dash. When she overruns the monster, we can place a counter on this card. We also got to put a little wound on her thing. She has a Battle Dance ability, so if she plays 2 consecutive offensive cards, which are going to be maneuvers and attacks, she can do 3 damage automatically, or 3 times weapon level. And that's, so weapon level and weapon damage are 2 different things that can take a little bit to get used to, but it's pretty straightforward once you get the hang of it. These are her upgrades. Yeah, me dropping things over here was great. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, E1 through E2, E, E, D2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I'm missing one more. It was all in order, and then I dropped it. I think this should be it. A, B, C, D, and E. All right, that's good. Disaster averted. So there should be 24 cards here. Again, there will be 6 of each. All the starter weapons have 6 of each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Hold on 1 second. Now, to track a campaign, you do have these sheets. I find the sheets pretty good. There is also some guy developed a web site, but it's not like an app per se. It's just you save it on the web, and all my stuff did get deleted once. So I would recommend the paper backup if you're using the app. And again, it's not an app, so I gotta stop saying app. But yeah, it's like a website. It's pretty easy to find. But yeah, I definitely would recommend the paper backup. And I have a bug. Hello, monster. What are you? What are you? And why are you on my table? Well, sorry, dude. I tried. I tried to save you. Get off. Ugh. All right. The real monsters emerge. So so dual blades says when you trigger battle dance, you do 1 damage. So that would be additional damage to the amount of damage he's already doing. It's kind of a weird ability, but you know, it's fine. Hopefully, we can trigger battle dance a few times so we can get to see what that is like. Now, Kara's pretty good with getting herself moved to where she wants to be, which is super nice. I'm going to have to move these cards out here too. That's where we're going to put the different sequences for how we play. I probably should have moved the camera out a bit, but I was trying to keep us close to the action here. So hopefully I don't regret that too much. But we're going to take this deck. I'll put this up. I'll put this over here. And then we're going to get these cards off so I have space for the sequencing. But that's essentially the setup for the prologue. For the players have what we need. Oh, there's going to be, actually, never mind. There's some terrain. Where's the terrain? Flank, positioning, environment, general components. Huzzah. All right, we are going to play the monster. So we have some brush here. We have a bluish plant here. It's a blah 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 blah, and it's the official name. And then we have this purplish plant here. Now, yeah, those are also painted. Those actually came out pretty good. I like those. Look at that. It's fancy. All right. So each of the terrain has different impacts on play. If you start your turn where the brush is, you can essentially recycle a green card. I think it's a green card. There are. Yep, you can recycle a green card from your hand. Now, recycle just means you discard the green card and you draw another card. You can recycle the green card to just put your mini on top of the brush and let the other player go. I don't think that really comes up much in a 2-player game. Again, you cannot choose solo this game. You have to play 2 players. Also, I should note I don't have the neoprene mat. I don't want the neoprene mat. This is fine. Neoprene mat's bigger. That's the kind of the last thing I need, and I do like having a real board. I do say if you get this game, the sleeve box is like a must. I don't know how people organize and play this without the sleeve box. Seems like it would be super annoying. If you start your turn where this Bathanis is, I think it's called Bathanis, you get to heal 1. And if you start your turn, if you're here when you play an attack card, you get to add +1 weapon. Well, +1. Oh, you hear weapon level. I'm sorry. So your weapon level is 1 for this turn, and here you add weapon level damage to your any one of your attack cards, which is super cool. What else do I need? I don't think I need anything. I'll need the burning tokens. So I'll keep this over here. So let me get my warriors. Now the warriors I just did a intentionally kept them their details pretty minor. I did not feel like having to paint the super minutia of these tiny minis, so I just kind of dry brushed them in some colors, tried to get something akin to a sun drop, and I'm very happy with how they came out. So that's good. I have my damage tokens. Over here. I'll just dump some of those out because we'll need those. All right, and that's the setup. So let's go through our first few rounds. It's gonna be a little. Can we see who is who on the overhead? Setting up the third camera would probably be beneficial for the future. I shall consider it. I haven't played with that thing in quite a long time, so I will check it out. So I think we're good. I don't think I need anything else at this moment. Trying to just take stock of where. Ooh, yeah, I'll probably need these. So there are some reminder tokens, burning tokens, +1 plus damage tokens for Viraxin. Trying to remember all the tokens he uses. So I'll just kind of put an assortment of these down here. And we'll make use of the reminder tokens. All right, so the round structure is as follows. The beginning of a round you can consume. It is the one time in a round you can consume your potions, which I kind of like and kind of don't like. So you decide at the beginning of every round, do I want to consume my potion? Potions, when they're consumed, they go away. They are not like potions in Gloomhaven or Frosthaven where you get them back the next round. You will have to craft them again with the herbs that you will get as rewards for winning the battle. Now, if you lose the battle, obviously you just reset all your potions as if you never played it. I kind of like that mechanic as well. So good. It's coffee, kids. It's coffee. Don't get excited. All right. The yeah, we don't need 2 of these. Yeah, we're good. So you can decide now whether you want to consume. Monster upkeep. Monster upkeep is when you're going to look at the monster card. You're going to look at the one that has the smallest number. If there's multiple that have the same number, you're going to remove both of them. Now, again, that's not great because you do not want him to keep going through his deck. He goes through his deck. He's going to get, he's going to escalate. Every time he escalates, he adds struggle. Every time he adds struggle, he risks smashing you in the face, and getting smashed in the face is not fun. So we are going to, we're going to skip the monster upkeep in round 1 because there's no point. We just put those cards out. The monster's going to gain 1 struggle per hunter. So we're going to put the struggle down here to kind of keep track of that. I am surprised there's not like a spot for these, but you know, ultimately it is what it is. So monster has 2 struggle. Now I should read what's over here. So the peril card at the end of the round, if the aggro player is threatened, place a fire terrain in the front sector. The way to make sure that doesn't happen is make sure your aggro player is not threatened. Now again, to start the game, we have assigned the aggro token to Thoreg. He also has a first player token. That will change. The first player token and aggro player have to be separated, but at the beginning of every round, you're going to give the first player token to the person who has the aggro token. It's a very, very smooth system, and I do like it a lot. Permanent, if you play 2 offensive cards in a row, if you're in the rear sector, you can place a counter on this card. When there are 4 counters on this card, Viraxin suffers 2 wounds, then we remove that card from the game. I may or may not accomplish that objective, but it's super cool. I do like the little things I do like that. Every monster, again, is super different. So that is the end of monster upkeep. We now go to, so we skipped behavior refresh. We went to the monster gains 2 struggle, and now we go to the player turns. Every player's turn starts with a movement phase. Well, first, every player should have 5 cards in their hand. So I'm going to pull 5 cards for Thoreg. I'll keep them off camera until I put them up. And then we're going to pull 5 cards for Kira. trying to make some room off camera to put these things in a way that will make sense for my little brain. All right. Do I need you here? No. I probably will need you. Get some tokens. All right, that's fine. And good. All right, we're getting 5 cards for Kara. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Oof. 10 cards pulled, nary a red. So there is no mulligan, which might be a interesting thing to add to the game. But you know, we should be able to make it work. Now remember, massive blow. I want to stun the monster to get to my mastery over here. Masteries have to be opened up every single battle. So if I finish, I get the mastery in the first battle. The next battle, I start with it closed again. Masteries are designed though that you should be able to get them in the first 2 or 3 rounds. For the most part, if you don't, you're probably playing your character wrong, or you chose the wrong mastery um, when you have such a thing as a choice in that. But ultimately, I can only attack Varaxon from the front or the back. I cannot attack him from the sides, right? So I can only attack him where the reds are. The front is always pointing down. So, you know, it is what it is. I could have probably made that a little bit clearer. So if I go to the side, I can't attack him, but it looks like I can't attack him anyway. Now, the only thing about if I'm on the sides, I can play any color card I want, except for I can't play a red card. Again, red cards are your attack cards. Your blue cards are your maneuver cards. They help manage struggle. So you get to remove struggle off of there. And then your yellow cards and your green cards are more your one's called a parry and one's called something else, which is not a parry. I forget what it's called, but the blue, the red, the yellow, and the green make it less likely that you're going to suffer damage during the attrition check every round. The the green are dodge, and the yellow are parry. So they're more your defensive cards. So when you see that symbol, it refers to a defensive card. Sometimes you see that symbol in yellow, it means a yellow defensive card or a parry card. If you see that symbol in green, it means specifically a dodge card. And we'll talk about how attrition works. Now we're gonna go through the entirety of one player's turn, entirety of the other player's turn, then we go to the end of round phase. So I don't have any red cards anyway. I don't want to get threatened. So if I choose not to move, I will get this threaten token, which would go on my board there. What that means is when I do an attrition check, I have to pull 2 cards and accept the fate of the worst card in the attrition check, as opposed to just drawing 1 card. But also, if the aggro player is threatened, remember, we had to put a fire token, which I probably should get some fire tokens out. And fire is no bueno. Fire does a lot of things that are super annoying. So, but I don't hate fire. It seems realistic. It's fire. So there are no fire minis, which is probably for the best. Less things for me to paint. So what are we gonna do now? You notice a lot of cards are multi-use. So like this one has a reaction ability. When a behavior card is revealed, I can discard this card from my hand to cancel the effects of that card. That could be cool. Some of them will have keywords. You'll see assist like a common keyword. Of course, none of these have the assist keyword. Reclaim red. What the hell does that mean? I don't know. Reclaim. This is a keyword ability that's triggered when the card is played. When this card is in your discard pile. Ooh, man, that's remembering your discard pile is going to be interesting. All right. Well, this is not the greatest of abilities, the greatest of things I've ever seen. From the front sector, I can increase the amount of struggle, but I don't want to be in the front right now because I would be punched in the face, and that's not good. Not good. Ooh, I could do that. I don't hate it. She doesn't have a friggin' red card though. Man, my nose is revolting. Hold on. Sorry for that. It must have been drafting and Farmingdale yesterday. Man, I feel like my image is a little off. I'm long overdue. I need to play with my settings big time, but I just haven't had a chance. But yeah, sorry, things will seem a little fuzzier than is ideal. All right, so this too shall pass. We'll get through. I promise. So I don't have great options. It's going to be a very underwhelming first turn, but I need to move. To move, I can only move to an adjacent sector unless I am doing an ability like Overrun, which you'll see with Kara. And to move, I have to play with Stamina. So there's another ability of what these cards do. So you can play a card and just use it for its stamina cost to get the corresponding amount of stamina. So this one has 2 stamina. Now, if you overpay for stamina, you lose the bonus, but you cannot, once you've paid for the cost of a card, you cannot just discard cards in your hands. Cards are stayed in your hand until they are used for stamina that you need to generate. You can't just be like, oh, I don't want this card either, like, and just get rid of it. No, you have to use it. You don't have to be max efficient. So say I need a 3 stamina, there's nothing stopping me. Say I need a 2 stamina, there's nothing stopping me from putting that in my discard pile and then that, which adds up to 3. I'm not forced to do the 2 first. But as soon as I've paid up the 2, I can't continue to discard cards, is what I'm trying to say. So I am the aggro player. This is not great. I'm gonna discard. Probably want to keep the blue. No, I managed. All right, I'm gonna discard this card for the stamina, and that's gonna let me move over here. And while I'm over there, I'm not stunning him, which is part of the problem. I'm going to use this card for the 1 stamina to pay for this card. Again, the stamina cost of a card is up in the top left. This also has the aggro symbol. So if I wasn't already the aggro player, I would take this from Kara, but I already am the aggro player, so that's not a thing. This says draw 1, but if I pay with the blue, which I did, I could draw 2 cards instead. So now I'm going to go over here, draw 2 more cards in my hand. So 1 and 2. And actually, can I get... I didn't think all this through. So this is my hand. Yeah, I'll do that. So for each player, I'll be able to make it work this way, and I'll just move that over here. So this is now in my sequence. So cards in your sequence, the order that they go in is important. They have to remain in that order throughout. So now I have these options stuffed in my hand. So I have 4 cards on my hand, and this is my sequence that's up here. This is going to count for my attrition check. I don't think it makes sense for me to do much else right now. So that's the only thing I want to do. I drew 2 cards. I like my cards. It's going to put me in a decent spot for next turn. So at the end of my turn, since I have at least 2 cards in my hand, I'm going to get one of these tokens. Now that token has the same symbol as these, so that I can spend as a stamina. I can spend it as a stamina for movement. I can spend it as a stamina for the cost of a card. Note that you can only have one of these tokens. Now, if you upgrade certain equipment, you might be able to hold on and hold up to more stamina. You can hold up to 3, I think, with some of the equipment. But at the start of the game, unless you have something that says otherwise, you can only have one of these tokens. So you could spend it and then get it back at the end of a turn, but you get this at the end of your action phase. So we now go to the attrition phase. So in the attrition phase, we're going to pull a card off this deck. Now, if I was threatened, we'd pull 2, but now we're just pulling 1. This deck has 5 1s, 3 2s, a 3, and a 0. Right, so the majority of that deck, I was 60% safe against what's in that deck because I have 1 defensive card. So we're going to check that. Hey, 1 defensive card. I have 1 defensive card. I don't suffer attrition damage. If I suffered attrition damage, I'd go over here. Oh, the monster would do damage at a level of just 1 damage. I would take 1 of these damage tokens, but because I was protected against that, we're good. So this card's going to go on my discard pile. We're going to draw up to my hand limit. My hand size is 5. However, I have this card, Tenacity, which says that this card does not count towards my hand size limit, so I could draw up to 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got Mighty Strain and we got Endeavor, and I'm going to put these 6 cards over here. I'll play them out again on my next turn. So now we're going to come over to Kara. No, so at the end of my turn, there's still more. The monster's going to turn toward the aggro player. I'm still the aggro player. The monster's like, "Grrr, where are you going?" That's how he talks. He's a weird monster. So we're going to come over to Kara. Now Kara's going to play out her cards so you can see. So she has Shadow Strike, Perfection, Offensive Attitude, Twist, and Shadow Step. A lot of these chain off of a red. Ooh, Perfection seems like a card I want to play. So now I could stay there, but then I'm threatened. And if I play any aggro cards, then I will take a fire terrain. And I don't want to do that. So can I get through this without playing an aggro card? I'm not so sure. I think maybe I want to do some damage to it. Right? So your cards gain stealth into the end of the turn. Stealth is kind of cool. Oh, by the way, I note the triggers. I didn't play a red card and I didn't start in the back section. So those haven't triggered yet. Now, in theory, if you didn't do anything for 10 rounds, the monster also wouldn't do anything, which is an interesting, well, he would do some things he would trigger, but for the most part, he wouldn't do anything, but you also wouldn't win. Remember, you have to get this done in 10 rounds. So search your deck for a red. Oh, that's interesting. All right, chain. A card with the keyword ability can be played without paying sound cards, or you play it after a card in your color sequence. So if I play a red, then I can play this for free. So that's interesting. Your cards in stealth, and you overrun the monster, you may discard this card from your hand to draw 2. I have nothing to give me overrun. Remember, I want to stun, I want to overrun. I haven't done anything toward my goals yet, which is not great. Chain 2. All right, I'm going to discard Twist, which is going to let me move over here. Then I'm going to play yeah, I'll play Shadow Strike. When your cards gain stealth into the end of the turn. I think that will work. It's going to let, and also since it's a maneuver, it's going to let me remove 1 struggle. Then I'm going to play. No, that's stupid. I'm not doing that. I'm actually going to. I'm going to discard Shadow Strike to play Perfection. And again, that stamina cost is 1. When I play Perfection, it lets me draw a card. If it's a red, I can play it as the next card of my sequence without paying its cost. It is not red. When you discard this card from your hand to generate stamina, you may overrun the monster instead of moving. Oh, for a movement. If you redo, remove 1 struggle. That would have been, it's good to have for next round. The reality is, I'm not doing much. I was in position to try to get a counter on that. I just didn't pull any red cards. So I gambled a little bit that I was going to draw a red because I knew I had 6 reds in my deck, but unfortunately that didn't work. I think I'm just going to chill. So again, 2 rather underwhelming turns in a row, but it is what it is. Thoreg is still the aggro player, so that will help things along here. All right, so what are we going to do? At the end of my sequence, we're going to go to at the end of my action phase. I am going to get a stamina token. And then we're going to go to the attrition phase, pulling one card. It's a 1. I have one defensive card there, so we're good. This card's going to go away. I draw to my hand limit, which is 5. So we have Half Moon. There's a red card, and we're good. That's the end of my turn. Monster turns to face the aggro player, already facing the aggro player, so that's fine. We go to the end of the round. Now, at the end of the round, we have a chance, at the beginning of the next round, we have a chance to consume. Nope, my bad. Right, that's where that is. We have a chance to consume. I don't want to consume. Now I'm moving, notice I'm just moving this token off the tear to remind me I need to add some extra struggle here. It's just something I forget to do at times, but we're totally good. I did put myself in harm's way. Nope, I didn't. We're good. All right, so now we're going to go to the monster upkeep, behavior refresh. This 2 goes away. This comes out. So now if we play a green card, that's going to trigger. So the 2 went away because that's a 6, that's a 3. So the red card had a 2 on it. So behavior refresh, and now we add 2 struggle. I'm going to flip one of these over to show me that we have 4 struggle. Now if we get to 3 struggle per hunter, so 6 struggle, advanced math for y'all, then the monster will attack both of us. He'll do 1 damage to Thoreg and 1 damage to Kara, and again that damage can be enhanced as we go. Oh shoot, totally forgot. Never mind. This is here. End of the round, this was supposed to trigger. So we flip this over. Aggression, each player in the front sector must either immediately move or suffer damage. Reaction turns to the player with the fewest defensive cards in their hand. That's going to be Kara. Now, if you immediately move, you do have to still pay the stamina. So I will just pay the 1 stamina to move, and I'll move here. And I have 4 defensive cards. Kara has 2, so he's going to turn to Kara, and that just changed his facing. All right, that's fine. Then this would have come out. Then the behavior refresh. Well, then this gets discarded. This replaces it, and then the behavior refresh that has a 1, so the red card stays, and this comes out. So now when I play a red card, both of those are going to trigger, which is probably not ideal. All right, so we did the behavior refresh when we gained 2 struggles, so now we're up to 4 struggle. So now we go to the player turns. Beginning of Thorvek's turn, because he's still the aggro player, so he still has the first player token. He's not starting in the back, so what does he want to do? Well, probably wants to stun a monster. Now the monster can only get 1 stun token at a time. So even if I have multiple abilities that could stun him, he's still only going to take 1 of them. If I can remember where I put the stun tokens, that would be impressive. Oh, here they are. Vulnerable, blind, stun. They're all here. Great. So, Thorvek's turn. Beginning of his turn, he either moves or he gets threatened. He will probably not stay the aggro player. So, it's not the worst if he gets threatened. I actually don't want him to move because then it's going to trigger something on Kara's turn. I don't think she's overrunning, unfortunately. So he's just going to stay where he is. And we're going to get ourselves a threatened token. All right. But now we have his whole turn. Let's see what he wants to do. So he's not in the front sector. Could move to the front sector. Now that'd be oh, we can't attack from here. Well, that's 2 reds in a row that do this done. Yeah, this is actually fine. I like this. All right. So we're going to play assist. So this is a keyword assist. I could discard this on Kara's turn to let her draw a card. Do that. Play that. God, I have like no red cards, man. This is so bad. This is not going well. Yeah, my sequencing's just been off. Definitely don't want to recycle though. So we're gonna get threatened. I'm gonna discard Mighty Strain, which gives me 3 stamina, and that's gonna give me enough to play Concussion. When I play Concussion, it's gonna give me a chance to stun the monster. So I'm gonna stun this card. I don't know what the 2 and the 4 do, so that's not gonna trigger now. And also I can choose one player, it could be me or Kara, to reveal their red up to 2 red cards in their hand, and they're going to do weapon damage, not weapon level, for each red card they reveal. So we'll reveal that, and they both have 1 red card, so we're just going to do 2 damage to Viraxian over here. Again, we do 2 more damage, we get our first wound. Finally, now I stun the monster, so I'm going to put a counter on my mastery here because I only need 1 more of those. I don't have another red card. Now notice when I played this, when I discard that card from my hand, so I discarded it for stamina, I do have to take a strain token. Now strain just means I draw 1 less card when I replenish my hand. You can, for each strain token I have, then it goes away. But remember, this doesn't count toward my hand limit. Anyway, also when I play a blue card, it's a maneuver card, so I'm going to remove 1 struggle. Be nice to have done more, but that's all I got. That is going to be the end of my turn. I'm just going to take the damage this round. It's fine. I have these Alamores. The Alamores I consume. In the consume phase, I could choose a player in my sector to heal 2. If the attrition level is 1 or less, we get to heal 4. Again, those scale up as you go across the different levels. This is a level 1 Alamore. So end of my turn, I'm going to take my stamina token back. We're going to do an end of the action phase. We go to the attrition phase. We're going to pull 2 cards because I'm threatened. So we pull the 2 and we pull the 1. The 1 stays on top, but either one would have gotten me. So since I take damage, I take 1 damage because of the damage level right now. Again, I have 9 health here. And then I'm going to discard this card from my sequence, and I draw it to my hand limit, which would only be 4 with this, but tenacity doesn't count, so I draw up to 5. Hopefully it's a red. It is not. So just not drawing my reds. Shuffling has not gone well. All right, these will go over here. Hopefully I can get 2 reds, stun this guy again, and get my mastery opened up next round. That would be ideal. He's going to turn to face the aggro player. All right. So notice I can do. I still was able to do damage to him, even though I wasn't in one of those sectors. Those sectors prevent you from playing a red card, but you can still otherwise do damage. We're gonna go to Kara's turn. Now Kara doesn't trigger this. Remember that's stunned, so that's not going to trigger for the rest of the round. So now we're trying to get something done. Another player hasn't played a red. That's cool. Red, red. All right, I'm going to use this stamina token to move here. Now I'm in the back section. So let's try to actually get some damage done here. I'm going to discard this for the stamina. Let me put these out here. I'm discarding Offensive Attitude to get the 1 stamina. This cost me 1 stamina, so that's half moon. So it's assist. I could have discarded it on Thorex's turn to give him a card. I don't do a lot of assisting. I just find that, you're just ultimately making your next turn pretty weak in a 2-player game. But that is a maneuver card, so that does remove 1 struggle, because it's a blue card. Blue cards always remove the struggle. It's easy to forget that, especially when you have other things that you're thinking about. And that says, if my next cards are red, I deal up to my weapon damage. My weapon, not weapon level, my weapon damage, which is 2, and I draw a card. So lots of things are about to trigger now. I'm gonna then discard. It is what it is. I'm not crossovering. I'm not crossing over, but it's fine. Unless I want to do that. Yeah, I would like to cross over. Yeah, this is fine. I'm going to discard this. It's overpaying, but it's 2 stamina. That's fine. I only needed 1. I'm going to put that in my discard pile to play Crescent Strike. Now, a bunch of things are about to happen. Crescent Strike has an aggro symbol, so it's going to give me the aggro token. It means I'm going to be the first player. Kara is going to be the first player in next round. It also, what is that chain ability? Chain, a card with this keyword can be played without paying attack. You play it after. So if I had played this after our red card, I could have played it for free, but unfortunately I didn't have any of the red cards. But when you trigger stuff, you could do this in any order that you want. Now remember, also it's important to note that I am attacking from a proper section that I could play a red card to begin with. So, red card says deal your weapon damage and draw 1. My weapon damage is 2, so I'm going to do that 2 damage right off the bat. That gets me up to 4. That's our first wound, right? Then I'm going to draw 1 card. It's another red card. It can chain after a blue card. I also play 2 offensive cards in a row, so I get 3 weapon level damage. So that's going to be weapon level of 1, so it's 3 more damage. So 1, 2, and 3. And when I triggered, this is Battle Dance. When I trigger that, I deal an additional damage. So that's 4 damage. That's another wound. So 8. If we get it down to 7, we are going to transfer into another stance. Then well, I never actually did the damage for this attack itself. I did the damage because of this. I did damage because of Battle Dance, but this red card itself is an attack card. So that's also going to do my weapon damage, which is 2 damage. So, I mean, it adds up pretty quick. I did 2, 4, 8 damage. 9. I did 2, 4, yeah, 8 damage. Yeah, that's right. And I can increase my sequence limit by 1 this turn. It means I could have 6 cards in my sequence. Obviously, I'm not getting there. Although I could trigger the next level of Battle Dance. So maybe that's not the craziest thing to do. Maybe. I haven't done any overrun, which is kind of annoying, but we'll see. But one thing that happens now is since I played a red card, I do have to trigger that. Let's see what this does, and it might change my plans. So, Blazing Assault, the active player discards the top 3 cards of their deck and suffers damage unless a defensive card is discarded this way. Also, remove to struggle, repeat the base ability of this card. Now, there is struggle here, so we can afford that. So, we're discarding. I'm going through puberty. We're discarding 3 cards. See if we discard a defensive card. Yep, we have a defensive card. So, that's good. And then we're going to do it again. 1, 2, 3, defensive card. We're good. Now, again, it wants you to go through your deck. When you go through your deck, you do take damage. I forget what it's called, but it's a certain kind of damage you have to take at that point. So this is done. This card comes out. Remember, this is also a red card, but it's stunned. So I think it makes sense just to kind of keep going here. Maybe not. Oh, I did a attack from the rear sector. I can put a counter on this card. I did 2 offensive cards in a row. Now, if I played a 3rd card in a row, that would trigger that again. But Battle Dance is special. I need to get the 4 cards in a row to do that. And I'm kind of tempted because I have the cards. But this would be super inefficient since I'm not removing any struggle. And I'm also not doing an overrun. But I can really get a lot of damage on him. And that might be worth it. Plus, it would get me 2 more counters on that, which is kind of sick. Sure, I'm going to play this card, so crossover. I'm just playing it for the blue, remove struggle. But the important reason to play that is now that is 2 more cards in a row, so it's a second counter over here. And then assist chain. Chain says that if you're a card with this keyword can be played without paying a stamina cost if you play it after a color card in your sequence. So I can chain after a blue, so I can ignore the stamina cost to play this. Also removes a struggle, but that's not a thing. But the more important thing is now it's triggering a bunch of things. A, it's a 3rd counter over here. So only 1 more to do that. Again, you have to be in the rear sector for this to happen. It also is going to trigger 5 damage from Battle Dance. That's a 6 damage from Battle Dance. So we're going to have to do this one thing at a time, right? So we're going to get 6 worth of damage just to kind of visualize this. So I'm doing 2 damage. I have 4 more to go. Gets 5 plus the 1. That's going to get us to 7 wounds, which means we're going to now go to the next stance. The next stance, we can no longer attack from the front, we can attack from the flank, and we can attack from the back. When that's revealed, we are going to, oh, it's 6 damage plus 2 more, because the attack itself is going to do damage. When that's revealed, Varaxin gains 2 struggle. All right, now we need 6 damage to do a wound. And when he attacks, he's still just doing 1. If we get him down to 3, he gets to the final stance. This goes away. So at the end of the round, the aggro player is threatened, place a fire terrain. If it said permanent, it would stay out. It does not say permanent, so this goes away. And again, the aggro player was never threatened. Thorag was threatened this round, but he was not the aggro player, so it would not have mattered. Remember, Kara took the aggro player from him. So that goes away. This says when a behavior card with fire zone is revealed, immediately place a fire terrain in the front sector, so only in the front. Right? So he was at 2. We're adding a total of 8 damage. So I still have 6 over here. Well, look at that. That's enough to do 1 more wound. So Kara just did 4 wounds worth of damage. So that's common with this game. Like you will have turns where things kind of set up really well. I had these 4 cards in a row that I was able to afford. Even on my second turn, I still have not done anything for my mastery, but I was able to do a bunch of damage and got him from, I mean, I did what, 2, 8, 6. I did 14 damage this turn. So, that's a pretty cool turn. All right. Now, we're going to go to the attrition phase. I'm not threatened. We are going to pull 1 card. It's a 3. I do take a damage. Again, also have 9 health over here. We're going to put these cards here in my discard pile. Now, cards go in your discard pile in the order played. So you do have to keep them in order. This card's going to go on the bottom. This goes on the top into my discard, and I draw to my hand limit. Note I did not have 2 cards in my hand at the end of the action phase, so I did not get the stamina token back. And now you see my hand, I used a lot of blue and red cards. So I don't have those blue and red cards left, which is one of the reasons I really wanted to get 3 of those counters on there while I had the chance, because getting that kind of sequencing can be hard. All right, so these 5 cards come here, making sure there's nothing special on here that I need. Ooh, that's interesting. Ooh, that's interesting. All right, I dig. Now, end of the round. There's no end of the round ability that we need to care about. There's no end of the round trigger here. The aggro, he will turn and face the aggro player, so he's turning to face Kara. What a jerk. So, end of the round, we're going to remove the stun token, because that no longer is in effect. We're going to have this come down. We can decide whether we want to consume. Obviously, I want to consume. Kara's going to take the first player token because she's now the first player. We can no longer attack from the front, so presumably the monster is now like protecting his face, because I just smashed him in the butt. He wants to protect his face. It's a thing. Monsters are weird. What do you want me to tell you? Well, what do you want me to tell you? And now we can go to the rest of the sequence. So we're not consuming anything. Behavior refresh. We're going to remove the 2 once and for all. Was that the right one to move? It has Firestorm. That's good. This now comes out. This comes down. We add 2 more struggle. Again, that's just a reminder for me to add struggle because I kept forgetting. And we're now going to go to Kara's turn. Now, things have a very specific sequence that they trigger, right? Because now she's in a place where she's going to be able to heal because she has the plant there. But first, the order of operations, you go stance cards, peril cards, objective cards. We don't have any triggers here. Then behavior cards, then everything else, and everything else would include any kind of hunter abilities. It would include any kind of terrain abilities, etc., etc., etc. So we're going to flip this over. It says now it does not have Firestorm. because we'd have to place a fire terrain in the front sector. That could be, warm. Varaxin gets Hunter -1 struggle, so it's gonna get one more struggle, so it's almost at 6, right? Which means it would immediately do an attack, and then it's gonna get +1 attack through the end of the turn. So when it does an attack, it's not just gonna do the 1, it's gonna do the 1 plus the 1 every time it does monster damage. That goes away, this comes out. Now what's that symbol? That symbol means that if a player is about to become threatened, it's going to hit that trigger. So the triggers right now are blue card whenever a player is about to become threatened. If a player is already threatened, it would trigger that if it's going to remain threatened. So if Thorog doesn't move on his turn, it would trigger that. And then this is starting in the tail section. Now this is specifically if Kara was starting in the tail section, just like this was if Kara starting in the front section. There are cards that are like if anyone's starting in the tail section, so you do have to pay attention for that. Sagitt, I would vote that the Manticores are the boss. Anyway, just a quick check-in. Good luck with this. Yeah, thank you, sir. All right, so now we're going to go to Kara's turn. Kara is going to heal 1 because she starts her section. She starts her turn there. We're going to put these 5 cards out and kind of see what we could do. Now we have a chain after yellow. If we played a blue after that, we get to remove a struggle. We have no blues. We have this defensive card, which lets me overrun. I probably should start doing that. I kind of wanted to not move and then overrun, but I don't think that's smart either. Behavior card is revealed. I could have done that. When the monster changes orientation, you may discard your hand to drop your size limit. Hand size limit. So if I did a lot of assisting, that could be good. All right, I'm going to... I don't know what that is, and I'm assuming it's not good, so I'm not going to mess with that. I'm going to... I don't know what it is, but I assume it's bad. I'm going to discard... the Wall of Blades to move here. And then I'm going to discard Disengage to play Run Through, which lets me immediately overrun the monster, and I'll put that over here. Now let me read Overrun, make sure I'm not forgetting anything specific with it. Overrun. When you overrun a monster, place your hunter miniature in the sector opposite to your current one. So sounds super straightforward. And then I'm going to grab a counter here. I need to overrun twice in order to get a get my mastery. So pretty underwhelming turn, to be honest with you, but I had such a huge turn last time, and that's like super common. So I am going to end my turn there. I'm going to get a stamina token, so that's super important. I mean, there are almost like it's almost like lightning in Spirit Island, where you have to like have just replenish, refresh. You have 10 rounds, right? So you want to like have a couple of rounds where you do what I did last turn, but you want to have rounds where you're just kind of toying with the monster and biding your time and putting yourself in a better place for future rounds, right? Stamina tokens are huge. It doesn't seem like much, but it's like, hey, stamina token, it can pay for a card, right? It allows you to trigger, and the way things can trigger off of each other, having that one extra stamina can make all the difference in the world without having to rely on things like assists. Because again, if one hunter assists the other, well, then that hunter's gonna have a much worse turn themselves, right? So you have to like balance all of that. So we now go to the attrition phase. We're not threatened, so we're only drawing 1 card. Yep, we did this correct. It's a 0, so we didn't even need any defensive cards. This is going to go on top of my discard, and we're going to draw up to my hand limit, which is 5. So her pile is getting really low. She has 1 card left. These are fine. We're going to put these over here. The monster is going to face the aggro player. Aggro player is Kara. It comes over here. And now we go to Thoreg. So, do we? I don't know if we want to do the extra wounds. I think we just keep this set up. That's permanent, right? So that stays out the whole time, and we can get those wounds later in the game where they might be more important. We just have to get into the butt section and do a double attack, right? Or play 2 defensive cards in a row. I still want to stun this dude, and that's not looking great. We have a recycle 2, which could be helpful. I just played with Thoreg, and I had him super. I mean, I had so many. At some point I was like literally only had like 4 starting cards in my hand, and everything else was like all this special cards. I'm like looking at his deck, and it just looks so different. Because it is different, Greg. It is different. So I don't want to get threatened again. We have to worry about the struggle. Could remove 3 struggle. Not sure if that's Firestorm or not. All right, I'm gonna play. Let me put these out here so you can see what's going on. I'm gonna discard Endeavor to move. I'm gonna move over here. So since I moved, I lose the threatened token because I'm no longer threatened, kids. See, it's amazing how that works. I'll just keep this down here. Then I'm going to discard Stamina Boost. Oh, I have that too. I still have this. I'm going to use this Stamina token to play Exhausting Strike. Now, Exhausting Strike, I'm not actually doing a strike, but I'm exhausting it. So I'm getting removes from struggle. So again, a blue card inherently removes 1 struggle. Here, if I'm in the front sector, I increase the struggle maneuver removes by 1. And this one says increase the struggle this maneuver removes by 1. So it had 5 struggle. I'm removing 3 with 1 card. So that seemed too good not to do. However, it's a blue card. I have to discard. I have to trigger this. Now, remember, it's not an aggro card, so I don't take the aggro token, but we are triggering this. All right, it does not say Firestorm. But reaction turns to the active sector. Active player plays a fire terrain in the front sector. So fire terrain is going in the front. Now, what does fire do? Fire, you can no longer play cards in your sequence as long as you're in a terrain with fire. Additionally, if another fire terrain goes there, any player that's in that sector would get a burning token. A burning tokens, they just make you go through your deck faster in theory, and they also will give you extra damage when you get to the bottom of your deck, so they're not great. Additionally, we're going to remove another struggle to have this enhancement. The active player suffers damage unless they have a green in their sequence. And remember, the damage is enhanced for the round, so it goes from 1 damage to 2, and so I'm taking 2 damage here because I do not have a green in my sequence. Plus, I can no longer play defensive cards, which isn't great because I can no longer play cards. And remember, the movement phase of my turn is over, so it's not like I have any option of where to move here, but we got a lot of the struggle off of there, and it's not a Firestorm card, so I don't hate it. It just is what it is. Now this comes out. A couple of things are going to happen. We got to the bottom of that, so we're going to add 1 struggle, and then we're going to then we're going to reshuffle the behavior card. So as soon as that deck is empty, you reshuffle. We also have this. We also got a chance to see our first Rampage card. Rampage cards are unique in that they don't trigger in themselves, but as soon as another behavior card triggers, the Rampage card will also trigger. So when you have multiple triggers at once, things can get kind of nutty, but we'll kind of work through that if it happens. All right. So, not the greatest of turns for Thorek. He's probably going to take another damage here. So, another 2 damage here. So, that's not great. So, I can't play any more cards in my sequence. Turn's over. I'm going to take a stamina token, though, because I have 3 cards left in my hand. Attrition level, it's a 2. I'm taking 2 more damage. So, we're up to 5. Only 4 health left. This goes away. And I can draw to my hand limit, which is 2 more to get me to 5. But remember, I still have tenacity in my hand, so I can draw 3 more. And hopefully I can get another red. I don't understand. Where are all my reds? That's insane. Someone's gonna have to give me advice on my struggling struggling. No, I am struggling. My shuffling techniques to tell me why this is happening. I don't want to be knocked out. It's not looking great. We'll see how this goes. Yeah, I just haven't had a lot of reds. I did have to discard. I think I discarded 3 cards with that one behavior card that came out from Firaxin with Kara. So like that's been a thing. She only has 1 card left. I'm assuming it's a red. Tell us, hi Greg from France. Excited to catch a live stream. I love your amazing videos. Keep it up. Thank you, sir. All right, end of the round. Wolf. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Hmm. I'm wondering when that behavior card was discarded if I should have jumped over. Haven't faced the aggro player. So we can't attack. We can't get that boost for a couple rounds. That fire token's going to be there, which is super annoying. That's 2 chain. Nah, I think I'm going to want that stamina too much, but I don't remember what her mastery does. When you overrun the monster, deal your base damage or draw 1. That's interesting. So it just continually wants me to overrun. That's an interesting build. All right, we'll see how I want to explore that. So end of the round, there's nothing that triggers here. This +1 damage goes away. And the fire goes from blazing to waning. All right, but we still, next round, until that's completely gone, we cannot play cards there. The beginning of the next round, Kara's still the aggro player, so we're going to go to round 4. We're going to do a behavior refresh. This 2 goes away. This red card comes out. Now we saw this before, remember? Not a Firestorm card. It just makes us discard cards. And we don't get damage. There's a thing. Now remember, do we want to consume is a real question. Thorag might want to consider, but it would be not a great use of that. And there's still a couple of 1s in there. So yeah, it's 2 1s and a 2. I'm going to gamble that Thorag will be able to get more benefit from his Album War, and hopefully he doesn't take 4 damage this turn, because that sucked. So, we add 2 struggle, so we're back up to 4. So that's a thing. And now we go to Kara's turn. Kara is going to do Kara-like things. I think. Chain, remove 1 struggle. Yeah, I definitely want to get some damage. So if I did yellow. Yeah, there's some cool chaining abilities here. I don't know what that red card is, though, so that could be unfortunate. I have a feeling I might be really hurting Thoreg here. All right, so I'm going to use this stamina token to move over here. And then we're going to discard Finesse to play Natural Agility. Increase my sequence by 1 this turn. Now, if I play a red following that, it lets me also draw a card. Which I think and this lets me chain after a yellow, so I can play this for free, which is super nice. So then I'm going to play Airblade, which is going to trigger some things, so it might be dangerous. but it's an aggro card. It's going to let me do 2 damage. It's not Battle Dance yet, but 2 damage. And then we'll see what triggers off of this. So I have a feeling more fire is coming out, and that's not going to be great. So first we're going to do this. The active player discards the top 3 cards of their deck. The player suffers damage unless a behavior card is discarded in this way. So I'm going to discard 1. I'm out of cards, so we'll shuffle this up. And then when I shuffle up my deck, I am going to suffer weapon level damage. So I get 1 damage from that. And then we're going to remove 2 struggles to do it. 2 struggle to do it twice. Discard 1. I think this would get shuffled back in. I think the rules say, I'm not sure. Someone can tell me. Just reveal. And then there's discard. I don't know. So I'm discarding 2 more. 1, 2. Defensive card discarded. And then we're doing it again. Defensive card discarded. Only 1 red, which makes me happy. There was the reclaim card. There's a card if I play 2 reds in a row, which I haven't done, that I could take it back out of the discard pile. So that triggered. Now this also triggers because it's a rampage card. We'll see what this does. Again, not a firestorm card, so that's nice. Place a fire terrain in the front sector. There's already a fire terrain there. So when that happens, this goes back to blazing, and I think Thora gets a burning token, is how that's supposed to play out. Fire. All players associate. Yeah, so Thoric is really on fire. Remove 1 of those. Each player in the front sector suffers damage unless they discard a green. Thoric could not afford to suffer any more damage. Probably not playing leverage anytime soon, so we'll discard this green and make sure he doesn't suffer damage. But note, we did just go through 3 struggle just because of the boost. Now both of these cards discard. Nothing else would trigger. So even if another red card thing came out, nothing else triggers. You only evaluate at the time the thing is out. So we go 1 and 2. So that's the trigger end of the round. Let's try not to forget that this time, Greg. Great. Now, when I played this, I should have done more. I should have drawn a card. It was that blue card. I don't know. It was a blue card, and another card should come off the top. So I should have drawn a card because that triggers with that. And it wasn't Half Moon. It wasn't this. It wasn't that. I think it was this. I don't think I've seen this card. So it must have been that. All right, so we'll shuffle this again. Because I was supposed to draw a card before we did the ability, which made me discard 6 cards. So 6 cards are now discarded, and I'm pretty sure that was the blue in my hand. So it does not look familiar. So this is draw 1 for each aggro, each offensive card in my sequence, and if I am if my mastery is focused, then I could increase the sequence by 1. So I'm going to play Slice, which is another offensive card, and that's chain after a red. So since I played a blue after the red, Airblade things trigger. Lets me discard a struggle. And I hit my Battle Dance, so I do 4 damage because of that. That 4 damage gets us up to 6, so that's another wound. Because it was a 3 from there and the 1 from there. I'm on the side, I'm not in the rear, so I don't do that. But now we're down to 5 wounds left. And I think I'm going to chill. I like the idea of starting there. overrunning is interesting. But I did play 2 aggro cards, but I'm already the aggro player, so that's totally fine. And actually, I would have removed another struggle because it was a blue card together. So I'm at -1 struggle, which is not a thing, but that's fine. But feel pretty good about that. We're going to go to end of turn. I have 2 cards left, so I get a stamina token. We're going to discard cards in my sequence. They're going to go over here. I'm going to now draw to my hand limit, which is 5, 2, and 3. And put these cards over here. Dude faces the aggro player. He's like, I lit you on fire, sir. What else do you want me to do to you? Nothing. Nothing at all. Yeah, I probably have to go to the rear. You can't attack him from the front. I can't play cards in this sequence now anyway. But I am wondering, do I just do the 2 ones now, get him down to 3? But it's so much better to get him to 3 and then really trigger that hit the tail objective. I can only stun with 2 reds. I still don't have my second red. Take a strain unless your mastery is focused. Oh, I forgot to do... Yeah, I forgot to do the attrition check. Ooh, 2, which is good actually, because that means that the next 2 are 1s. So Kara would have taken another damage from the attrition check. Sorry about that. All right. I think Thorig might join in the front over here. We know it's a 1. Yeah, we know the attrition card's a 1, so I'm going to discard charge to get to here. Now remember, I'm discarding. You just can't play cards in your sequence, but you can totally discard. And then I'm going to play evasive action. Take a strain token. When your mastery is, unless your mastery is focused, my mastery is not focused yet. Again, I draw 1 less card, but tenacity will give me a card back. It's fine. That's going to be the end of my turn. None of those are going to trigger. At least not yet. I'm in the front section, which is fine. Oh, man. No, that's a bad idea, because if Firestorm, that could be a Firestorm card, I forget, but I don't want to get burned again. Well, I guess I'm already, oh, if I'm burning, I have to discard 5 cards. Yeah, well, so if you have a burning token and you're supposed to take another one, then you have to discard 5 cards, and that's not good for anybody. So I'm about to heal 4 in the consume section. It makes sense to not be next to Kara. I did not play an aggro card, so we're good. End of the round, I'm going to gain... Oh, I had a stamina token. You know what? I would have used the stamina token instead, and then I get the stamina token back. One of these days, I'm going to pull one of my 5 other red cards. Yeah, I feel like today's the day. All right, so end of the round, we're going to do attrition check. It's going to be a 1. Look at that. It's like I knew things. This goes away. I only draw 1 more card, even with tenacity, because I have this card. This token goes away. Is it a red? It is a red. Look at that. Oh, beautiful. That's a beautiful, beautiful card. All right, and we're good here. So he turns to face the aggro player. He's already facing Kara, so that's fine. And now we go, or she. Or actually, it could be a she. I like it. And then we go to end of round. Triggers this. Not a Firestorm card. Each player in the front sector must either immediately move or suffer damage. For actions, turns to the player with the fewest defense cards in their hand, which is totally Thoreg. Ooh. Yeah, this could be good. But then he's going to turn to face the aggro player. All right, we're still in. Oh, this is the end of the round, right? Oh, yeah, end of the round. Great. So when this is revealed, I'm going to discard this. When a baby card is revealed, you may discard this card from your hand to immediately overrun the monster. Great. Bam. Go in here. Because remember, earlier is when he turned to face the aggro player. We're now at the end of the round steps. So we overrun the monster. Then he turns to face. That's where he turns to face. That's not good. If I overrun him. Shoot. I was trying to get my mastery. I don't know if it's worth it. All right, we're good. We're just going to discard to move. Again, it's not free movement. We just have to move. I'll move here. He turns to face the player with the fewest defensive cards. We both have 2, so he'll turn to face the aggro player. Yeah, so it's going to be me as tiebreaker. All right. That's fine. So this is done. This comes out. Other end of the round steps, this goes, that flips. Everything else looks good. We're going to go to the next round, consume phase. We're going to consume this Alamore since the attrition level is 1. We're going to heal 4. Look at that. And that's used. And now we go to the rest of the steps. Behavior refresh. This 2 goes away. A 1 comes out. We're going to add to struggle. And now we do player turns. Now, beginning of Kara's turn, because she is the aggro player, she is in the front sector. Not a Firestone card. Viraxen gains 1 struggle, and we get another +1 damage token, so he's doing 2 damage this round. That's done. This comes out. Again, we have to reshuffle the deck, so we add another struggle, and we're going to add. So, there's only 9 cards on the behavior deck, so you're going to go through this pretty quick. Joey, just hopping in briefly. I'll watch this in full after work and see what happened at Farmingdale yesterday. Farmingdale. It was a rough day at Farmingdale. It's funny. Good times. All right. If I had a green, I might actually jump up on the thing and let Thoreg go first. Thoreg's pretty set up. Echoing Blades is nice. We know this is a 1. Oh, shoot. I don't want to go here because then he'll face me and then Thoreg starts in the back, and that's not good for Thoreg. So I could just come to where Thoreg is if I want to attack, which I don't know if I do. One move. Echoing Blades is if the next card I play is an offensive card. We draw 2 and then discard a card on my hand. Do I just stay? I could just stay where I am. Get threatened. Then a pull in. I know that's a 1. I do have 2 damage, so I probably should take advantage of that. Thorig moves over there. This has assist. Yeah, I get big plans with Thorig's turn, so I'm going to use the stamina token to move here. And then I'll play that defensive card, because I know that thing's a 1. And that's the end of my turn. All right, we're going to the attrition phase. Big surprise, it's a 1. We don't reshuffle that until we need to, I think. This goes away. We draw to my hand limit, which is 5. Ooh, there's a lot of red cards. Like that. These will come over here. Thor turns to face the aggro player. Alright, we now go to Thorig's turn. Thorig needs to move. Stamina. Move in here. Nope. This is Thorig. Can't go here because we still can't play cards there because it's still a fire. Oh, did I discarded the assist card. That was dumb. We can make this work. Alright, so I'm going to discard these 2 cards to get me up to 3. Increase the damage the attack deals by 2 weapon level. Again, level is only 1. So it's increasing this damage by 2. It also is getting the aggro token to Thorig. So I'm discarding 2 cards to give me 3 stamina. It's an expensive card. Opening. This attack deals vulnerable. What's vulnerable? Good question. Vulnerable means that the next source of damage it takes is going to be doubled. So we're going to put that on here. So we're doing 2 damage plus 2 because it's plus 2 weapon level. So 4 damage. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm finally going to discard Tenacity to make some use of it. So I'm discarding this to get 2 stamina to play for knockout. And since it's a red, and then this card is a red, so it's, again, the card that there's always like an arrow symbol that's like this card. And the previous card's red. So it's going to do a bunch of things. So first, I'm going to stun the monster. And I will stun... Doesn't really matter what I stun, does it? The tail. Why not? I'm going to have Kara to reveal 2 cards from her hand. So she's doing 4 damage. So that's going to be 2, gets us to 6, plus a remainder of 2. So down to 4. Then we're going to deal the damage from this attack, which is just 2. So we're up to 4. The next source of damage. And I think it could be any source of damage. So I think I could choose Kara's damage. Or does it have to be an attack card? Stun. It deals weapon damage to the monster is revealed. Nope. Vulnerable. When the monster vulnerable, when you or another player deal damage to the monster, you may discard the vulnerable token, double that damage. By a single source of damage. So the single source of damage is this stun effect. So I will remove this and make that double. So there's going to be 4 more damage. So we're up to 6. Okay, so we did 8 damage, and it was already 2 on there, and we're going to do 2 more from this attack. So the stun did 4, which was double to 8, and then this attack's going to deal 2 more. And I remember I did 4 because of Iron Blast. So we started with 0. So we did 4 plus 8 plus 2. We did a total of 14 damage, which would have been 2 wounds and a remainder of 2. All right, so we're down to 3. This goes. This stays. This card goes away. So we're into stance 3. We can attack it from anywhere. When revealed, place a fire token in each threatened sector. The threatened sector is a sector that has a threatened hunter. We have no threatened hunters, so that doesn't apply. It was now dealing 3 damage because it's still +1, and then we have an attack of a 2 as a base instead of the 1. This card goes away because it does not say permanent. This card says when a behavior card with Firestorm is revealed, immediately place a fire terrain in the front sector. All players in that sector become threatened. So again, lots of interesting things happening. So we have a remainder of 2. All the effects of that attack were carried out, but I'm about to get punished for 3 damage. But also, since we stunned the monster, that was the second time we stunned the monster. So we do have this opened up. That means every time I play a blue card, I now deal my weapon level times 2 damage. And if I play blue, red, red, I stun the monster again. All right. So really, really good turn there. And now it's 8 damage to do a wound. But if we do 2 attacks from the back, the nice thing about that is we'll be able to just do 2 wounds right away. So that's effectively worth 16 damage. It would probably be enough to kill Varaxin at this point. So end of my turn. I have no cards in my hand, so I don't get a stamina token. These are going to go on top of my discard pile, and I'm going to draw 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still have cards on my deck, which is good. We'll put these over here. At the end of the round, we're going to remove this. Now, if I didn't use the vulnerable, you could choose when to use it, but if you don't use it by the end of the round, it goes away. So there is a timing issue there. This comes down here. We are going to, he's going to turn to face the aggro player, which is now my friend, Thoreg. First player token's going to come here. This is going to come down, and we are in round 6. Oh, we never did the attrition check. Sorry about that. So the attrition check, yep, sure enough, it's a 1. I take 3 damage as Thoreg. Never already used my potion, so a little precarious here, but that's done. Attrition level is now 1. So round 6, first player token with the Thoreg. We're going to do this +1 damage goes away. We're going to do behavior refresh. The 1 goes away. This comes out. We haven't seen a Firestorm card yet, which is kind of lucky. This fire token goes away, so nothing's on fire now, so we can go anywhere to do attacks. So Kara can maybe sneak over there to kind of finish this off in style. Is kind of a loose plan. Yeah, I didn't play any blues last round, so that's a thing. So 2 more struggle come out. That gets us up to 6 here. We're going to reduce that to 2, and both players are going to take monster damage, and that's going to be 2 damage each. So we're up to 6 damage on Thoreg, and we're going to take 2 more damage on Kara. All right, so definitely cutting it a little close. But so again, it goes up to it's 3 times each hunter, and then once it's 3 times a hunter, then you reduce it to 1 a hunter, but then we have that attack we have to deal with. So not great. So it's Thoreg's turn. We are yeah, I think Kara is going to be there is some utility to try to save that Alamore. It's just one less thing to buy as we get into scenario 1. But the good thing is we can attack from anywhere now. I think if Thorig just chills, Kara probably finishes this thing off. If I had a green, I could just stall my turn, but I don't. I don't want to play the blue. Oh, that's a Sledgehammer is a cool card. But there's a real chance that I would just defeat myself And I think it just makes sense to let. So Sledgehammer, so there's a card if I could play after a blue, I can pay whatever I want, and then I do that much damage. Or that much multiplier times weapon level, which can really add up when you're in level 2, level 3. Ooh, I could give him stealth. Oh, the joys. All right, I'm going to stay where I am. I'm going to get threatened. Fine. And I think we're going to play. We're going to play this yellow. See if I can avoid damage here. I'm going to discard bludgeon to play this. This can only be played after a blue. So I'm just going to chill there. I'm going to get a stamina token. We have to pull 2 cards. It's a 1 and a 1. So we are good. No damage. But we want to get Kara to bring this puppy home. So these will go here. I draw to my hand limit, which is 5. 1, 2, and 3. And no damage there. I never went through my full deck, which is pretty crazy. He turns to face the aggro player, already facing. It's going to be Kara's turn. Now, since it's Kara's turn, again, none of those are triggering. We're going to discard this card for assist, so Kara can draw an extra card. And then we're going to do the following. We're going to discard, let's put these out. We're going to discard this for 1 stamina to move here. We are going to play, so this card is stealth. I never triggered that, which is kind of unfortunate. But I'm going to play backstab, so it's stealth. So if there was the thing that triggered off a red, it would not, because this card is stealthy. When I overrun the monster, I could have discarded this to do 4 random damage. However, this is going to do 2 damage. Like so. Then we're going to play, we're going to discard this to play this. That does a bunch of things and is going to end the game, because that's going to do 2 damage because it's a red card. That gets us up to 6 over here. That triggers Battle Dance, which triggers 1 more damage as well. So there's 4 more damage. So that gets us up to 10. 8 of that's a wound. There's a remainder of 2. It also is going to be 2 offense. Oh, plus it's 1 more damage for each of those attack cards, because we were in the thing with that plant. And it's the 4th time we did a offensive sequence in the rear. So when there are 4 counters on this card, suffers 2 wounds, he's dead, and then we remove this card from the game. And Varax's like, oh! That's the sound he makes. So, Sajid, everything went as expected yesterday, Joey. No need to worry. Nothing's on fire, not even a monastery. Yeah, no fires, baby. No fire. So game ends immediately. I just had the sequencing in my hand that I knew Kara could finish that off. And I was really trying hard not to trigger some of these behaviors, so I didn't trigger this. That didn't have Firestorm, but he would have turned, which wasn't great. That doesn't have Firestorm. Which one he said Firestorm? Firestorm was, oh, if you got threatened, and the red 2, and that's the one that I stunned. I think I stunned it once, and then I think it just got removed. So only 2 of the 7 cards had Firestorm, but we managed to avoid them. That's why I guess, again, I don't really mind the fire. I get what Kanazu was saying. There's some really funny, like, again, I didn't use this brush at all, but like if a fire goes there, the brush goes away because it just burns up. It's like little things like that just they make me smile. But look, there's a lot of rules in this game, but I think when you understand what's going on, it's no more than like Gloomhaven or Frosthaven. And again, you don't have to worry about monster movement, counting hexes, what way would it go. There's no freaking minions. There's only 1 monster activating, so instead of activating like 7 monsters every freaking turn, like some of those games. Look, I really do appreciate Frosthaven more and more and more, but like, and Gloomhaven, the Havens in general, but like, this game just, all the complexity is in the combat and the combat mechanics and some of the things that are going on, and nothing. Sometimes it can feel a little cheesed, but nothing's crazy, right? So like the blind mechanic allows you to, make some peril cards inactive, which for some monsters is absolutely vital. There's like a whole toughness thing with some of the monsters, um, that you have to contend with. I mean, it's the monsters are all very, very different and very, very clever. So I've played this prologue 4 or 5 times now. So like, plus like Kara's a Kara's pretty strong. I think like a lot of expansion characters, they tend to be a little bit on the stronger side. She's super offensive. You get that battle dance humming, and she's doing a lot of damage. you know, and that's fine. I mean, there are certain things that she's not going to be good at with some of the monsters that we have to be careful with. This is probably a really good team, so I'm excited to kind of see how this plays out. Saget, hey, look, a win. Look at you go. Since I missed most of this vid, how do you like this game? How much you played? I've played it a ton, and I really, I, I don't know where it would go in a ranking, but it's definitely top 10. And I mean, I think as far as boss battlers, this is what I want out of a boss battler. So if you don't like the boss battler genre, whatever. But I mean, if you give me this or ATO, I'm gonna play this. And and I think that's not fair to ATO. Like I never gave it another look after I had just that awful campaign. But like, this is so much easier to get to the table. I haven't played this in a week, and the rules are still there. But I played it a lot for about 3 weeks, and I will still keep playing it. I mean, obviously, I invested the time to paint it, so that's gonna keep me coming back. But like, it's really, really good for what it is, and it's expensive. I get that. It's not for everybody. Um, if you don't want to paint it, you know, I think they probably use the ugliest plastic they could have chosen as a base, so that's not great. But the game, just the mechanics of the combat, and having the characters are all very different. The monsters are all very different. And I just like that cat and mouse, and you know and having to be like, all right, I have 10 rounds, how do I make use of it, and having those turns where you're like, I'm just charging up. I don't. It's not about doing maximum damage every round. It's like strategically thinking through, like, I could do this round, but if I do this, that what does that do for me next round? And what does that do for my, partner, who I'm with? Or like, let them do the damage, and I'm just gonna stay over here. Let me get threatened so I could draw the attention of the monster, and they can go in for the kill, in the back. I just think there's a lot of really cool ideas, and they delivered. I mean, they really, really did. My quibbles about this game have more to do with some of it feels like Kickstarter bloat. um there were some really weird oversights, but for the most part, it's pretty player friendly. I find the rulebook fairly solid. I think they could have done a better job of giving you like a too many bones like player aid with all the keywords. But when you know where to look, it's like one of those games that gets easier and easier and easier. And I think most of the rules are fairly intuitive. And once you start knowing what the different terrain does, and once you start really going through, keep that round card out, and just, it's like when I was learning Arkham. You have to be like, all right, Mythos phase, investigator phase, upkeep phase, or what, really say it out loud. Like, your player's turn, when you get to the end of the turn, it's like, all right, attrition phase. Well, it's not even so. It's action phase, end of action phase, attrition phase, end of turn phase, discard cards, draw cards, monster turns the aggro player. Like, really talking that through out loud or in your group to make sure that you're not skipping phases. I mean, in the video, there were a couple of times I got ahead of myself, but again, I've done this so much, that I was able to kind of fix it real quick, right? But it could take that first week of learning, could be a bit rough. But yeah, I think this is really good. Um, Wait, you have ads in your live streams? I guess I'm watching on my computer the next time. What? You're the second person that said that. That's a weird addition to YouTube. I gotta figure out how to turn that off, because I don't know why they're doing that. It's a very strange, like, in the middle of the stream, like, people are missing action. Like, that doesn't make any sense, dude. Like, that's really weird. Yeah, sorry about that, man. We finished the first ATO cycle months ago, and I am slightly hesitant to go back. I will for sure once I get a good rest from it. This game was like the no minis version of Oathsworn. Somebody had said that earlier. If they offered you a standee version, would I recommend it? And I don't think I would. And I think that comes from having played the no standee version. If they have to, I'm sorry, they offer you to a standee version of this, would I recommend it? I don't think I would. And that's, I mean, I own the standee version of Oathsworn. I am selling the standee version of Oathsworn. I do think the minis would have made Oathsworn a bit better. You know, front, side, back. I mean, it's so important to this game that your brain would adjust after a while, but it's really hard to determine front, side, back with just a piece of cardboard because there's no real intuitive way for that to happen, right? Um, excuse me, sorry, could not get to the mute button in time. Um, so I do think the table presence is a big part of what makes this game sing. And if I was just moving a piece of cardboard around, it's still great. I still like the mechanics, but I do think there's a reason why this is a mini only game. The storage isn't great. I could show you what I did. I posted some pictures on the Facebook group where I did get all of the minis into one box. I used some foam core and I was able to get it all, but then I still have all of these things in another box with all the tokens, and then I have the card box. And this card box, I didn't originally buy this, so this thing is a must. I really would not recommend this game, but just get the card box, dude. And I say that as someone who did not buy it. Again, I should have led with this. So here's my story with Reggie Games. So it's kind of a review copy. It's kind of customer service, but my box came all jacked up. Like there was a lot of bubbling, and it was a pretty common problem in the production that multiple people had this issue where the box cover was all messed up. It's just the glue didn't adhere right. And I'm not someone who I don't bitch about boxes. I expect a few dings. Like, it's expensive for a company to ship a box. I'm really sensitive to that, but I did reach out to them because this was pretty. It was a pretty for a game I spent this much on and I waited this long for. It wasn't very great. So I did reach out. I said, "Look, I'm a content creator. I didn't order this and this. If you want to send me that, we'll call it even. I don't want to make you ship me a box. If you send me stuff, I will be more likely to learn this game earlier because I do have a pretty interesting backlog right now. So they did send me the terrain expansion, which I've painted, and they sent me the card box, and they sent me the book of the Tome of Creatures, I think they call it. It's like a coffee table book, which is fine. It's interesting. I'm not a huge like, oh, coffee table book for a board game guy. Um, the card box is kind of essential with all the sleeves. Like, you know, being able to get to what you want to get quickly, the card box really, 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 really helps and makes this a much better game to store. But obviously, do you want to spend whatever it is for just a box to hold all your cards? I mean, I understand the investment gets up there. Um, as the campaign goes, so here's a map of Thyrea. So we'll have different quests that will open up, and the structure of the campaigns, interesting. Might as well get into this now. So the first thing you do in your campaign is you read the stories. Then, after you read the story, then you choose your quest. After you choose your quest is when you go ahead and do your upgrades and craft your equipment. So it's not the most intuitive sequencing, but it definitely works. Where the heck? Yes, rulebook. This rulebook could be better. They're definitely, here we go. Story phase, quest board phase, crafting phase, hunt phase. Then you do your hunt. Then the hunt's the last thing you do. So there is a little bit of a prologue here. So, as the completionist that I am, you have never faced a monster of such size and ferocity. It was a Varaxen. One of the seekers had theorized its existence, but a live specimen had never been sighted. Etched into your memories, its flaming eyes still seemed to be burning. There was no trace of the Prime Seeker and his expedition, so we were going out trying to find the Prime Seeker. They're kind of like the shaman, I guess, of our people in Alboria. Um, Thoreg adjusts the squad. If they are still alive, our best hope is they fled from this place before it was too late. All around you, the fire dances over what remains of the battleground as the smell of burning fills your nostrils. A deathly silence reigns over what has now been transformed into a valley of blood and ashes. Congratulations on completing the prologue. So read the next set of chapter rules, blah, blah, blah. So next time is when you come back, you figure out what you've won. You get your herbs, you get, some materials, and then you can start crafting. Additionally, how it works is each of the monsters that you defeat, you now get that trophy. And what that's going to mean is now we've opened up the fire forge, because what's happening is we bring this carcass back to our forge, and then they learn how to make that into equipment for us. So it's a lot of stuff going on there. So now we can make certain items. So based on what you kill, gives you access to certain monsters, and then the monsters have weaknesses. So, um, you know, Varaxin, he has a weakness to items that are made from coral, shell, and from ice, right? So if we start getting those items, then we could actually augment our deck. So there is a little bit of a touch of deck building before you go in. It's kind of like, hey, and it's like slight. So say I had two of those symbols. Say I had four of those symbols. The max you can have is four, from what I've seen. Say I had four of those symbols on my items. So these items have none of the symbols, but future items I'll get. Like I'll have fire symbols on my items now, because I can build fire symbols. But say I had two ice symbols, a shell, and a coral, or I think that's horn. What I could do then is I can, instead of having a deck which is 6 6 6 6, I can say, well, I want 7 red and only 5 yellow, so I can augment by 2, or I can just add 2 extra reds. Because again, we're going to start going through our card pool, adding abilities, and you can really kind of craft the deck that's kind of going to coincide with your strategy and your build and the masteries that you're going to equip from round to round. Um, the adding skills are pretty straightforward. So you have, again, 5 different skill trees, and I can just get 2 new cards, which I can sub in for other cards and take out some of my starter cards. And then the second time I go in any one of these branches is when I get access to another mastery. So the campaign I finished, by the end I had 5 masteries. At the beginning of the excuse me, the beginning of I'm just coughing in your ear. All right, we're better. At the beginning of the final battle, I had to choose which mastery made the most sense. Final battle, I think I won on my 4th try, and I was like, all right, let me try this combo, and just had to, figure out how I was gonna, what strategy I was gonna take. And I think there's a lot of fertile ground for that kind of tinkering. And the other thing I like about it is, you know, it's so easy. Some games are easier just to reset and run it back than others, right? ATO was not easy to reset and run back, and those battles were very, very long. And there was a lot. I mean, it's so dice dependent, you know. Yeah, there's a lot of strategy, but it's very, very luck dependent. I mean, this is less luck dependent, so you're running it back, and you just always feel like you have a chance to tweak your deck, tweak certain things, try a new strategy, and you're learning the behavior cards, which allows you to get a feeling that, all right, I'm figuring this out. I'm gonna figure out how to defeat this monster, and I think there's a much more rewarding player experience than something like ATO, where it's just like, I just got horrible luck. These cards came out weird. I had to face that stupid freaking crane thing more times than I expected super early. And it was just like, well, there was nothing I could have done about that. Oh, and to reset this, it's going to take me, you know, however long, right? Like, it's not great. And they were seeing, like, I was kind of in a death spiral, I feel like, in ATO, well, and that's like 10 hours of play. Whereas this is, now you just have to kind of retool your deck, figure out what you want to do. I think the level scaling is really good when you go from level Now we're only going to do level 1 monsters. Like only the prologue is level 0. Once you go from level 1 monsters, and then the monsters become level 2, and then they go to level 3. You could face the same kind of monster multiple times in the campaign, but you could go through a campaign and face 10 different monster types. It's totally up to you and how you want to proceed. And I think there's a lot of choice. The stories at the end and the that's more the campaign book, but the things you unlock and what you do, there does seem to be a lot of different keywords, and that triggers certain things, and you have different experiences, and there's a bunch of special items. There's like legendary sets of equipment that you only can access if you do certain things. Like this game, I think I've played through like 1.5 campaigns already, and explored the bunch beyond that. It was like one-offs here and there, and like there just seems to be so much depth and richness that I just feel like I'm scratching that surface. Do I worry that the more you learn the monsters, the easier it gets? There's always ways to tweak it, right? You can start facing level 3 monsters with level 1 equipment, right? So not be really hard, but you can do it, right? There's ways that you can really scale um, pretty easily that I think is really cool to the core of the game. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this. I mean, as far as like high expectations and something actually delivering, it's I feel like that experience hasn't happened for me a ton lately. So it's been good, to kind of dig into this and be like, oh, this is what I hoped it was. Is it perfect? No, but I think it's very, very good. So I cannot justify the space and money it takes. You were looking at a huge lump of plastic in the middle. That's just accessible, but I get the table person story and have no issue with with ATO. How many cards is that? Well, anyway, good that you found the spot for this one in your gaming life. Cheers, and see you next time for sure. Saget, have a good day, no doubt. Yeah, how many cards is that? Well, sleeving that took a couple hours. Well, let's just say that I think I was watching the 3 body problem, and I think I probably got through 5 episodes by the time I finished that project. So, um, there's a lot of cards. So lots of cards, but yeah, this is a big hunk for plastic. Wait till you see the Awakened, because whoa, that dude's big. But he lives. Yeah, I should say. So I fit all the minis in the big box, the core game box, except for the Awakened. He lives on my shelf right now because yeah, he's fairly big, and I spent a lot of time getting him how I wanted him. And I'm very happy with that. It's fun. I just hadn't painted in so long, so this was the first one I painted, and you kind of see my progression. It's like, oh yeah, these techniques. This is how this I can do this better, and they do get better and better and better. With this one, there's just like he's done. He's decidedly done. But yeah, I should have the wing should have been a little beiger, and the scale should have been a little redder. It's fine. Little fire effects, but yeah, expert mini painter I am not for sure. So it had been 5 years since I painted. Uh, what's the name of the game? Blood Rage, and my Blood Rage came out amazing. But I took a totally different approach. I went in expecting it to take a long time. This I was just trying to get done quick, but did it totally succeed in getting it done quick. I got this one done quick. The rest I started to take more and more time because I can't help myself. But that's about it. So this was cool. First time at Primal. Hopefully, I don't know. I mean, I'm leaning toward doing more, but want to make sure there's an appetite for it. So if you want to see the next chapter, definitely let me know, and we can start getting more of this out there. Or maybe I'll do a couple of chapters off camera and then come back and I'll do chapter 3 or something, or I don't know. Maybe I'll just do one of each level or try to figure something out and kind of what makes sense for the group. But the class, what makes sense for the class? What makes sense for the group? The group is a weirdly weird phrasing. What makes sense for anyone who watches my my stellar content. So this was super fun. I hope everyone's having an amazing day. So back-to-back days. Can't complain about that. I will be taking a few days off now. I have uh, grown-up things to do. So I'm gonna go do grown-up things for a little bit. Hopefully, I will be back on the channel next week. If not, it won't be too far from then. I probably will be Primal again next time, but open for a special request. I feel like I've made promises about other things that have not come out yet, but you know, do need to get back to Spirit Island at some point. There's always a Maze Night around the corner, but last 2 weeks have been what, Gaia and Dark Souls and Zeds and this. Most of those games are good. Not all, but oh, Zed's had me going yesterday, but that's a story for another time. But we finally I think I figured out how to make Piazza not suck on my 5th attempt off camera. But it is what it is. It's been nice to have some time to dive into solo gaming, which has not been the norm for me lately. But that's about it. Again, questions, comments, epiphanies, put them in the comment section below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And beyond that, have a great day and happy gaming.
Solo.